mode because even with 4-wheel drive lock on, if I put it in eco mode, my response is not as good. Sports mode, I will have more responsive. It will hold the gear longer because when I'm doing this kind of off-roading, I want to do it slow. Doing it slow, but I want it to have instant torque. So I want to be in sports mode, 4-wheel drive lock. Alright, so let's progress on. So this is our first obstacle. Alright, this is our first obstacle. This is a bridge crossing, but don't worry, this is a concrete stilt, so it's very steady. Just make sure your wheels are straight, and just gradually drive through it. So throughout the whole course, I love you all to maintain a gradual throttle. Don't be too aggressive, but also don't be too nice with it. There's some sections that you actually need a lot of throttle because after a few days of riding, you see, muds are getting deeper already. So we come to our first obstacle, which is a very mild hill climb, but I wanted to demonstrate the hill brake assist. Okay, we'll let the car clear first. So every time you see a car in front of you, ahead of you that's doing an obstacle, you let them clear first. You just never know if they need to back down or for whatever reason. Just let them fully clear first. Okay, I'm just going to reverse a little bit.
Can this car do the real off-roading as well?
I think this is real off-roading here.
As in like...
I think your biggest challenge with this car going like really into the jungle, it's not the 4-wheel drive system and stuff like that. It's more than sufficient. Your biggest challenge will be clearance. Okay. SUV being an SUV, you still lack clearance. So in Malaysia jungles, you know how it is. Deep ruts. Malaysia is muddy, nothing else but mud. So those mud, after a few cars pass through, it becomes ruts. So if your car go in that rut, there's no other way on. Your tire must drive into the ruts, and because it's so deep, your car has no clearance. You're basically resting your car on your belly. So all 4 wheels is lifted up. So that is the biggest challenge. Even off-roaders like us, with you know, off-road tires and trucks like that, we also have faced this kind of situation. So I'm just going to gradually drive up this hill. And halfway through, I just like to make a stop here to demonstrate. This is the hill start assist. So typically, in a normal car, if I let off my foot brake now, the car will slide down straight away. I mean, on this hill, it's not a big deal, but imagine on a very, very steep hill, right? You'll be worried if the car slides down. So what hill assist does is, if I take off my foot, it's actually 3 seconds before the car starts to go up. So it's actually holding that brake pressure for me. For the 3 seconds, enough time for me to switch my foot over on the throttle and progress on with the vehicle.
So something like this on a daily basis for this kind of car is still okay.
Yeah, imagine if you are parked on the side of the road on a steep hill, it's quite useful, especially when you need to back out the vehicle, you need to go front, go back, go front, go back a little bit. So this will be very helpful. Because there are times where you'll be worried, the car parked so close to me behind, and my car might actually slip. Okay, vehicle is clear in the front. So okay, this is another slight downhill, not very steep. What I'm going to demonstrate now is, now we put on 4-wheel drive lock, we are in sports mode, but one function that is not on is the hill descent. The hill descent control. This is the one that is going to help take my vehicle down without me applying the brakes. Now, why do we need hill descent control? The reason is because a lot of times when we are doing off-roading, right, it's the human error, it's the human factor that causes problems. Because if I brake too much, too heavy on the brake,
slide,
lock up the wheel, slide down. If I don't brake too much, my car speed goes too fast, right? So hill descent control sets a speed limit. The vehicle will control the brakes for you. To some people that have never done this before, first time doing off-roading, first time trying the hill descent control, it might actually take a little bit of time for them to adapt. Because when I tell you on a steep hill, hey, let off your brakes, let the car take you down, you're like, no way, crazy, right? So once you get used to it, then you appreciate it. So I'm letting my legs off. Okay, now at the start of it, there might be a slight moment you're like, oh, is it going to work or not? That's because hill descent control also need a time to detect, right, that I'm going downhill. But once it detects, now it's holding the vehicle according to the set speed limit. So I'm not touching the brakes. Everything is done.
So
by
the
them.
sound like ho,
That's
one
ABS.
is braking.
That's ABS. Yeah.
Okay.
So whichever wheel that is slipping, you brake that wheel. Avoid it from locking up.
So can let go of brakes and accelerator lah.
Yeah, I'm letting go of it. So what happens now with hill descent control? If I brake, then hill descent control will reset lah. If I step on the throttle, hill descent will cancel also lah. So to let hill descent come back, you must actually stop the vehicle and then do it again.
Okay.
Right? So I'm going to just leave a hill descent on. Doesn't matter because there are other sections here that I'm going to be using it. So we make a U-turn here. So this course is slightly small, so there will be a lot of sections that we need to wait for other vehicles to pass, crisscrossing, stuff like that. Weather condition is drier. On the first day it was raining early in the morning, so that first day was interesting.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, a little bit of rain is much better. Car 3, am I clear to drive up? Okay, copy that. Very good traction today, because even in some of these spots here, we were getting some real slip right there.
We get stuck last Monday.
Not exactly stuck, but some areas require a lot of throttle because it was slippery, right?
No. Oh, dear. Oh, shit.
Lam, appreciate if you can drive your car further front so I can clear the rear. Car 3, you're good to go. Car 3, you're clear. So we are at this little side slope here. It's not a lot. I don't even think it's 20 degrees. This car can handle up to 30 degrees of side slope. Side slope in four-wheel drive world is actually the most dangerous obstacle to drive. If you have been in the Malaysian jungle, a lot of times it's driving along the hill, the mountain, the hill, whatever. It's a single track. And a lot of times, because of our climate, we get a lot of heavy rain, landfall, right? Landfall. And what happens is, that side would be probably a cliff, this side would be the hill. And landslide, now you got a side slope.
When you say single track, you mean like one road, is it?
Like this lah, yeah, one road lah, right?
Okay.
So when you drive in the jungle, a lot of times is we're driving at the edge of the hill. So one side is the hill face, the other side will be a cliff. So when there is a landslide, tanah runtuh, meaning there will be soil here lah. So you go and do some digging or whatnot, try to clear the path, but eventually you still have to drive in an angle because of the landslide.
More than 30 degrees is dangerous.
The car spec says up to 30, but even that is a variable because you have to also factor in 30 is when they are testing the vehicle with nothing. But if your vehicle is loaded, it's a different story. And when you go driving in the jungle, your car will not be empty. And a lot of times you see a lot of four-wheel drive vehicle with the roof rack in the top. They like to put gas tank, water tank, and all their cargo in the top. It's actually a very bad move because now you're shifting all the weight into the top of the vehicle. Your center of gravity is worse lah. And and especially when you're carrying liquid cargo.
Yeah.
When you're driving off-road, you're bouncing here and there. The water sway here and there. That slight gush just tip your car over. So driving through a side slope is very dangerous. But there are some rules for you to learn that you can tackle them safely. So when you drive through a side slope, obviously if it's too much of a slope, you don't drive it lah. Right? Because your car will just drive up and you just slide down. Right? But if you think that your car is capable and you're confident to do it, you can drive through it, but with the right precautions. So when you drive through a side slope, don't fight the steering. Don't fight the steering because this is not very steep. But if it's a very steep slope, the steering will want to keep on turning this way, right? I want to go straight, but the steering will wanting to counter that. It's okay. Let it counter. Just slightly put it back. Slightly put it back. Don't go and counter it. The last thing you want to do when driving through a side slope is to counter the steering against the angle of the slope. Meaning this is the angle now, and I want to turn the wheel going up. That will be the last thing you want to do, because when you turn it up, when you throttle, it's just going to create the force further, bring up the force further higher and tip your vehicle over. So just keep it in a straight line, drive through it, and if you feel the vehicle is sliding, and you feel like the vehicle is going to tip and whatnot, in any emergency cases, just steer it to the direction that it's sliding. The direction is sliding, because worst case scenario, it slides down, you throttle it, also it will come to a flat stop. Rather than you go and counter it and floor it, it go worse and flip. So always be prepared. Always be prepared to turn the steering wheel the way towards the slide. I'm just going to come closer if you can see. So this first hill climb should be okay. It's always the second hill climb that you get stuck a little bit. But in fact, I would love that you get stuck in the second hill climb, because if you just throttle it, the car will go through, no problem. But you don't learn anything by that. Get it stuck and see how traction control works, and when to decide, okay, maybe it's not going to go through, I need to back down. Because it's okay, forward driving is not about doing it in one shot. It's knowing when the car can do it, when the car cannot do it, to make that decision. See, that's traction control kicking in. See, okay, now he's deciding whether should I let go or should I just progress on. Traction control is working harder. See, it takes you through. There is a moment that you will think, oh, maybe I need to give up. But if you hold on longer, let traction control do its work. It will take you through. Okay. So I'm going to position my car. I want to position it straight on, dead on towards the hill. If you take a few turns, it's fine. Take your time. Just make sure you position the car correct. You don't want to tackle a hill at the wrong angle, and then only turn when you're in the hill wrong. Always do it as straight as possible. Okay, let's give it a try.
Okay.
Just gradual response, not too much. I'm just going to continue with that response. I'll probably get stuck here. That's where, okay, now traction control kicks in. It's trying hard. I'm just going to give it a little more throttle. Okay, maybe that's too much. Now I decide to give it another go. Maybe it's not enough momentum. Make sure it's clear. Just always put it in reverse when you're backing down. Don't free gear or anything like that, because you never know that you need the engine braking. If you're in free gear, there's no engine braking. Anything goes wrong, you're free falling. So always put it in gear.
Oh, okay. Well, always leave it in gear.
That means if you're going down, you must put it in reverse. Don't put it in N and let it roll down. Okay.
Okay.
You need engine braking. When you're free gear and you're rolling down, and let's say your brakes doesn't work or whatever, you are free falling. You have no other means of stopping. At least when you're in gear, you have engine braking.
Yeah. So you left it in reverse.
Yeah, I must. If I'm going back, I must put it in reverse. Don't put it in N, or don't put it in D. Even in D, you will roll down, But don't do that. Okay. So always, okay, just somewhere there. Now I'm going to start off with a little bit more momentum. Earlier I was too slow, that's why I went up there. Traction control kicks in, but it did not bring me over. So a little bit more momentum. And once you pass that crest, and it's easy. So just like that. So here we're going to do a backup again. Just make sure everything is clear. You know, in fact, my hill descent control is still on, but I'm using the brakes. If I don't want to, I can actually rely on hill descent control also. Right? It's up to you what you're comfortable with. But leave it on just in case, right? Switch in. So we progress on to our next.
You just leave it in D, is it?
Yeah, just leave it in D. So I let hill descent control kick in. So a little bit of a delay there.
Yes.
Now I feel the Hyundai's hill descent control can be improved a little bit. I think this is all just programming. I feel it should kick in quicker. It should kick in quicker, and I feel the speed should be slower. 8 kilometers per hour, maybe you can bring down to 5. I think 8 kilometers per hour is still a little too fast. This is supposed to be all water. It's gone now.
Oh,
Yeah, after a few dry pushing the water out. Okay. Make sure they're fully clear first. Just never know, they might have to back up. So if you can see, the wheels are spinning now.
But actually, one time can go through. Right?
Can. You do a few rounds first, then you try.
Need momentum.
Yeah, off-roading, you need momentum when you go uphill. That's why as fast as necessary. Only as necessary. Might be some scraping because mud hole are getting a little deep, but this is soft mud, so it's okay. So just gradually. Alright, so we come to our next obstacle. This is called a frame twister. Basically, it's holes that we dug out. Alternate wheel. We also call this the elephant footsteps. Imagine an elephant walking through and leave all the holes.
The hole.
So what happens is when I hit this obstacle, at any one time, 2 wheels will be restricted. 2 wheels. So what happens is the other 2 wheels is going to be so light, it's going to spin. But it's that 2 wheels that's restricted that I need traction control to turn it. So it's going to happen that way. First this 2 wheel, and then when I go across it, and then the next 2 wheel go across it. If we look from the outside, you can actually see some of the wheels are actually lifted up. So when we do this, we try to do it slow. There are a few sections that we scrape the bumper because if you go too fast, you scrape the bumper because the holes are getting deeper. So just gradually take it through. No need to rush through. Once the car's stuck, then you only apply the throttle. You let the traction control kick in. So this is the first hump. Should be okay because my rear wheels are still having a lot of traction. Should be okay. So gradually let it down, scrape a little bit. That's fine. Okay, now your wheel and my wheel is on the hump. So now I'm kind of stuck. That wheel and this wheel is freewheeling. So do that. Just keep on the throttle. This is traction control coming in. So by inch, traction control takes you through. Inch by inch, but it will take you through.
A bit slow.
Huh?
Slow lah.
Well, because traction control have to sense that wheel slipping, it brakes a little bit, give it some
power,
control, and then it let go. You cannot keep grabbing it also because that wheel also needs to spin, right? So it just play around, brake here, brake here, brake here, brake here. So that's what it's doing, Every wheel is taking you inch by inch, but they all together bring the whole vehicle through. So that's the beauty of it. You don't have to rush through this obstacle. That's not the idea. The idea is traction control. So this is highway tire. You mentioned earlier mud terrain. Why I don't need mud terrain? Because I got all this traction control stuff.
Oh, I see.
Right. I mean, of course, it damaged the tire quite a fair bit, expensive highway tire, right?
Yeah.
But see, the same thing. Just let it come through. See, once it's through, just let it go through. Just brake a little bit so it doesn't slam down too hard. Yeah. Yep, that's the beauty of traction control.
Alright.
Okay. It's more interesting if you are from the outside. You can see the wheel working. So I'm just gonna let you descend, take me down. This is the Scooby-Doo car.
Scooby-Doo car.
4-wheel.
Oh yeah.
I tell you, this thing can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Sometimes this thing embarrasses because they're telling our clients, you know, how old I was, and this Scooby-Doo car just passed through a room.
The mystery machine.
Alright, so we come to the end of it, and you guys can hop over.
Derek, once you reach there, right, take another group for them.